Hello, everybody. Welcome back to an episode of the Gamers Podcast. Today we're gonna be talking about the Dead Space remake. It just came out last Friday, and I don't know if you guys all know this, but I'm a fan of Dead Space. I've liked Dead Space, and we've had Dead Space 3 gameplay here on the channel. And I'm just a really huge fan of it, especially the first one, which is actually the one that they just remade, and that's what we're gonna be talking about here today. So. To start off, like I said, I really love Dead Space. I remember playing it when I was growing up in 2008. Well, I was, that's when it was made in 2008, the first one. But I remember playing the first one, when I was a little bit younger. I just remember playing it on the PS3 and everything. So, Dead Space, is probably one of my most favorite game franchises. I wouldn't say of all time, but it's up there with my favorites. There's only been 3 games made, and I don't think there's any plans to make any future ones anyway. But they just remade the first one last week, and yeah, so we're just going to talk about it. We're going to talk about some new gameplay features. There shouldn't be any big spoilers for any of you who haven't played Dead Space, like, at all, the remake, or like the 2008 one, or like any Dead Spaces at all. Excuse me. Yeah, there shouldn't be any real big spoilers ahead, but just talking about mainly the gameplay and just the factors of the new remake. Not really the story, because people who played it already know the story, but more the gameplay of the remake. So I've watched a few walkthroughs and let's plays of Dead Space. I have actually played a little bit of the game myself. I haven't played the entire game. In terms of the remake, I've played all 3 games before, but I haven't played the entire remake yet. So I'm still looking to get to that, but I have played a little bit of it and it's pretty good. But like I said, I'm gonna get into my personal experience with it so far. I was playing it a few days ago. I'm gonna get into my personal experience with it so far, and we're just gonna talk about some of the the gameplay features and all that. So I'm gonna be taking a little bit off of VGCharts.com, just a gaming site. Just talking about Dead Space remake on there. So the new gameplay features, Isaac is fully voiced. Isaac speaks up this time around like yelling his teammates' names when they're in trouble or explaining his plans to fix Ishiruma's refuge. I just bombed that, I know. And fuel lines. Hearing him take an active role on the team's mission makes an entire experience feel more film-like and authentic. Interconnected immersion. There are no loading sequences when Isaac hops aboard the Ashiruma's tram to quickly travel between destinations like cargo and the medical areas. This is all part of the motive's goal for an immersive, connected setting. Zero-G freedom. In the original Dead Space, zero-gravity sections let Isaac leap across platforms using special boots. In the remake, you have the freedom to float in 360 degrees, lending to the spacewalk fantasy. Isaac also now has a propulsion boost, which is handy for dodging necromorphs lunging through space. And intense new moments. During Chapter 2, Isaac must obtain higher security clearance off the dead captain's rig. The captain's corpse is attacked by an infector, causing him to turn into a necromorph. In the 2008 sequence, players watch it change safely behind the glass. In the remake, Isaac experiences this horrifying transformation up close and personal, harking back the dramatic real-time necromorph transformation at the beginning of Dead Space 2. Those are pretty cool. So I'll just read off a few new features so far. I'm going to read off a few more, but those are good. Those are a few new things. I personally appreciate the time that I think they put into this, because when you play a game or just even watch a game, you could tell whether the game developers put time into it. And I could tell they definitely put time into this remake, and they really got it down pat. I mean, there hasn't really been anything on Dead Space since Dead Space 3. I think that was made in like 2013, around that time. So it's been a while. So I could definitely tell they've done their time researching, and they definitely have this remake down pat from what I've seen. So that's just kind of pause there, just to talk about what I've talked about so far. So we have big moments feel bigger. The vivid lighting and visual effects make more dramatic moments feel even more impressive. Later in Chapter 3, Isaac restarts the Ishirama Shooterfuge. A combination of effects explode into action as giant pieces of the machine rumble violently. Sparks fly as metal grinds, the huge swinging arm casts large shadows against the orange auxiliary power lights. It's a feast for the senses and draws you in deeper to the experience. Expanded weapon upgrade paths, which I think is really important. What good is hunting for bonus resources without a place to invest them? New weapon upgrade items can be attached to the plasma cutter, pulse rifle, and add more extra upgrade paths to spend notes. It's to be determined if this incorporates new weapon mechanics or simply additional enhancements to damage, reload speed, ammo capacity, etc. Small details enhance narrative. Isaac builds his plasma cutter out of composite parts at a workbench instead of simply picking it up, signaling his engineering background. Similarly, when Isaac collects his status module, he first picks up the severed limb it's attached to, its previous owner likely having been dismembered by a nearby malfunctioning door. These micro storytelling moments drew me in, and that's just talking about the website, like the player, not me personally. So tested gameplay. Combat packs the same satisfying familiarity, but with added smoothness. Flicking the plasma cutter to vertical and horizontal aim modes while blasting off the necromorph limbs is fluid and fast. Upgrade your way. The bench remains a fun way to customize Isaac to fit your playstyle using precious nodes hidden around Ashimura. This time I invested in a suit upgrades that boosted my status module's area of effect to help coral more enemies at once. You could also upgrade your weapons damage, ammo capacity, and reload speed. Again, that's the writer talking who wrote on the website, not me. Um, but to kind of pause again here, I agree with them. I've noticed a few of these things that we've talked about so far when I played, and I haven't finished it, like I said, but I played just the first few hours of it, and I'll have to say all those things are 100% on point. I mean, I agree with that. I like all the stuff that's new with it so far. And there's a lot of other new features that I haven't experienced yet, but the few things that I have, they've really been good, and I'll have to hand it to them for developing this game and putting out a remake because typically, when you put out a remake, there's only been a few games that have been remade that have actually came out good. And I've seen this remake get a ton of praise too, so it's it's not just me I'm talking about here. But typically, when a developer puts out a remake of an older game that they've put out already, usually it doesn't come out as good. Like I said, there's only been a few games that have been able to pull off a good remake. Usually, it hasn't been good. It's not really as good. And sometimes they make remakes for games that really don't even really need to be remade. Um, but they do. And personally, I think this Dead Space remake, at least for the first one, because like I said, there's three games, and they've only remade the first one, so who knows about plans for two and three? I'm not sure, but so far we've only gotten a Dead Space One remake. So them remaking Dead Space One, I think was a good move there. I think that was a pretty good move by EA to go ahead and remake it. But that's pretty much it. All the stuff that I want to talk about in terms of gameplay features and like the some of the new things that have been incorporated. Now to kind of cap off the podcast, I'm going to talk about me, the personal experience that I've had with playing the first few hours of this game. Like I said, I've only played the first few hours. I mean, I know Dead Space and everything, and the story and whatnot, but I'm still kind of getting familiar with the remake. Like I said, I've only played the first few hours of the remake. So I have yet to experience the whole thing. I might make a follow up podcast just talking about my personal experience on it. I'm not sure yet. Once I finish it, but I'm not sure yet. But for now, I'm going to talk about my few hours of experience with it. Now, the game is very immersive. I've been playing it on PS5 personally, so I think it's all next gen consoles, which they're equally as good. But for me, I've been playing it on PS5. The graphics are 10 times better, obviously, because it's a remake, and it's on next gen consoles like PS5 and Xbox Series XS. So of course, Dead Space 1 was all the way back in the Xbox 360 days, and it's been a long time since Dead Space 1 got made. So they're definitely in store for a remake for this game, especially with the newer gen consoles. The consoles themselves are able to handle more, and they're definitely able to push it to the limits. Now, I'll tell you, I can't give enough praise for this game. The gameplay that I've played, everything's just been phenomenal so far. And trust me, I'm not just saying it to say it. I like Dead Space and the series and everything, and I'm not going to shy away from criticizing it. Um, like The Last of Us or any of my favorite game series, I'm not going to shy away from criticizing those games or any game series that I like. But if I had something to say and criticize Dead Space remake, I would criticize it. But so far, I have nothing to criticize. I'm not just saying that I love it on all because I'm just gonna stick to the thing that it's my favorite game series, which it is. But I'm not just gonna say it to say it. I'm gonna say it. You say whatever I think. If the remake is horrible, if my opinion is the remake is horrible, I'm gonna say that. If my opinion is the remake is great, which I think, is what I think now, the remake is great. What I'm trying to say is that if I have to criticize the game, I will. But so far, I really have no complaints about the game. Great game. And look at other people's walkthroughs and let's plays and all that stuff. And I've seen people praise it a lot. And yeah, but that's kind of all I wanted to say. Just talk about the Dead Space remake, which great remake. Can't say that enough. Yeah, that's pretty much it. If you guys have played it, um, the remake, or just are fans of Dead Space in general, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Leave it down in the comments what you guys think of the remake, if you played it, or just what you think about them remaking it. Whatever. Let's discuss. Always say that. Let's discuss. So that's pretty much it. Make sure to subscribe for more content, like the video, all the good stuff. Discord, Twitch, Instagram, links in the description, and I'll see you guys in the next video.